This week takes us into Virgo season, but it's not just Virgo season. Now is it? It is eclipse season. And what is eclipse season? You may be asking. It is the time of year when things get real. Eclipse season, aka cosmic course correction season, aka timelines accelerating season, aka fated new beginnings and karmic endings season. Essentially, it is a time when the energetic temperature of humanity gets dialed up a few points and things get a little cuckoo bananas. It can be a time of transformative occurrences and a lot of individuals questioning, what am I doing? And do I need something different within my world? We all kind of are like running around like chickens with their heads cut off. During eclipse season, a lot of people could feel this now or never feeling around. I've got to change my life. Everything in my life is wrong. I need an utter new life. I need to completely transform my reality. And even if people are not contemplating such major questions as this, there could just be this energy where people are more testy. They are more agitated. They are more rushed. They are more intense. They are more emotional or dramatic. If humanity is a picture, it's almost like we turn up the saturation to the highest point where it's like every color, every hue that's there gets intensified 20 times more. And it can make the photo a little much. You know, when you oversaturate your photos, it doesn't always typically look so good, but it does really bring out the colors that were there all along. And that's what's important to keep in mind with the season that we are stepping into, is that oftentimes eclipses can bring to the surface what was always simmering, what was always there, where maybe there was an arena of life around feeling dissatisfied with something, and maybe that would have been just a very faint light blue in a typical photograph, but eclipse season is when that blue is intensified so much so that you cannot ignore or deny that it's blue. Or if there's certain relationship dynamics that are a little bit more subtle, with that saturation turned up to the highest degree, that is going to be very pronounced and very emphasized. And it may even bring up colors that we didn't even realize were there. What's important to keep in mind about eclipse season is that it accelerates timelines and it continues on ongoing stories that have been alive. So sometimes we get certain hints and clues of certain themes or events around eclipse season that builds in importance, that builds in emphasis as the story is written, as the eclipses continue to unfold. And if we go further with this saturation analogy, it's not me saying that we need to change the color palette altogether or that we need to utterly transform our lives if we don't like the hues that are going on. Quite the contrary, actually. This Friday's Virgo New Moon is the last lunation that we have that is just that, a lunation and not an eclipse. And when it comes to new moons like this Friday, this is the time to talk to the universe. Whereas eclipses, what we're stepping into after this new moon is when we listen to the universe. In that, new moons are a time to intention set, to call in, to ask, hey universe, are you there? It's me, Haley. I would like to experience this. I'd like to call more of this in. It's when we are talking. It's when we're asking. It's when we're requesting, hopefully with kindness and gratitude. And then when it comes to eclipses, it's not necessarily the time to request. It's not necessarily the time to intention set. And if you're familiar with my Cosmic Corner of the Internet and my weekly horoscope here, Magic Monday, you know I'm big on co-creating with the cosmos. I don't share this in a disempowered lens, but I'm saying it's a time to listen. If we're so busy telling the universe, this is what I want, this is what I desire, we don't have the space to just witness what is already playing out or what the universe is orchestrating and aligning on our behalf, the ongoing story that we may not have a full picture of. You know, sometimes we can feel like something that is ending feels like just that, it's an ending. But in the universe's story, it's like, my love, this is at the beginning of this chapter of your life. Or if we're in the crux of something and it feels really challenging, the universe sees the bigger story at play and sees, oh, you are just in the crux of this particular story. It's going to get really good, but you just don't see it because this is a particular slice of your life. And so this Friday's new moon is really the last opportunity that we have for some time to say, hey, universe, this is what I'm calling in. This is what I desire. From here on out, we're seeing what the universe desires for us, which, when we're living in it, may not seem very desirable at all. Eclipses can be quite volatile, they could be quite dramatic, they could be quite intense. My biggest advice around eclipse season is lay low, be still, witness, observe, meditate. Notice the details, notice who is coming into your world, notice who is departing, pay attention, observe the hues that are there. If something happens during eclipse season, it's going to be quite significant. And so it's important to really observe what's coming up, to observe its colors, right? To not feel so overwhelmed by the oversaturation of every emotional experience and every event that you check out from it. It's like observe it, witness it, but don't feel like you have to control the outcome. Don't feel like you have to enact what you think is best. You know, have you ever been in a conversation with someone who doesn't really let you speak? It doesn't always feel good when someone's just dominating the conversation with what it is that they want, what it is that they desire. It's kind of like the slice of life that we're moving into is around, yes, this Friday, August 22nd, have a conversation with the universe around, this is what I want, this is what I'm calling in, but then leave room for the space to hear, to listen, to witness what is coming into your world, to observe what you're being guided towards, to honor the signs and synchronicities that are pointing you in certain directions. You don't want to dominate over the conversation. You don't want to say, hey, universe, and I'd also like this, and also this, and also this. Certainly set your intentions as Friday, August 22nd. But when it comes to the period of time we're moving into after this new moon, listen, be still. Because this Friday's new moon really is about changing your life, but not changing your life in terms of the big things. It's around changing your life around the small things, and particularly changing your life by changing your mind. We enter Virgo season this week, and the Virgo sun squares off with Uranus and Gemini. They are both in Mercury-ruled signs, which emphasizes our mind, how it is that we analyze, how it is that we connect, how it is that we communicate. So this is the time to be an active co-creator and to know that change doesn't always show up in these big glamorous ways. Sometimes it shows up around our routines, our rituals, our mentality, our mindset with all of this Mercury energy. And sometimes it shows up around getting so overstimulated and so overwhelmed that we're like, F it, I need a change. I have to keep it real with you here in the cosmic corner of the internet. This could be an energy of pet peeves, things getting under your skin, but those very irritants, those very frustrations, that very desire to not want to be controlled or be told what to do, being the very driver, the very catalyst that helps you call in a new season of your life, a new era of your life. And this Friday's new moon is the opportunity to talk to the universe, to intention set, to get ready and prepared to listen. And this is your final, at least for the near future, chance to say, this is what I'm calling in, and I'm willing to do the work to maintain it. Because this new moon squares Uranus. This is utter disruption, something brand new, a new mentality, a new lease on life, a new ritual or routine that has ripple effects in the rest of your life. This is possible with this new moon, but it's not just planting the seed of what it is that you desire, that new shift that you desire. It's planting down the seed of the discipline to maintain it, to keep showing up for it. How irresponsible it would be to purchase a plant with no intention of watering it. I would never with my plants here in the cosmic corner of the internet. You have a child, you start a business, you start a hobby with the intention of nurturing it, of showing up for it, of watering it. So it's not just calling in, I want this new approach on life. It's also calling in, and I'm calling in the discipline to regularly maintain it, to show up for it. It's calling in, yes, I want newness in my home. I want these plants in my home. I want this pet. I want this position. And I'm also calling in the endurance and the strength to maintain it, to see it through. Be careful what you wish for is a certain energy within this new moon, because it's not just around it showing up. It's also you showing up for it. And so this Virgo new moon, it's not the most glamorous new moon. It's not around the fame and the fortune and the end result. It's around the persistence and the precision to show up for the potential until it blooms into something that is prosperous. Sorry, got carried away with the alliteration there. You might see more of that as we enter Mercury ruled season. And we will dive into everything you need to know about this new moon, about eclipse season, about the other astrological alignments this week, the Leo sun trines Chiron in Aries, Venus in Cancer squares Chiron in Aries, the sun ingresses into Virgo, the eclipse window opens. I've got you covered as I do every single week. But this week we're talking about the astrological horoscope from August 18th until August 24th, 2024. And as always, I'm sharing the astrological energies this week, but particularly honing in on how you can co-create with the cosmos in order to experience more magic, more flow, more alignment within your universe, ensuring that you're both speaking to the universe, co-creating with this experience, as well as listening to the universe and witnessing what is meant for you. Before we dive into everything you need to know about this week's astrology, take a step inside my cosmic cafe. Let me know what you are sipping on to start your week. I am drinking this Sunshine LaCroix. Have you ever seen this flavor? They are getting me this summer with the new flavors. I am hooked. I am enticed. How could I not purchase this with the sunflowers on it? It spoke to me. It spoke to my soul. And I also just needed some hydration because it feels like it is approximately 2,000 degrees in here. Obviously, I'm being dramatic. You know, my ruling planet Mercury is still in Leo, being a little hyperbolic with my language. But dear God, is it not hot in here? And in front of these lights, I need to light the incense because we got to fix the vibe in here. Okay, we got to fix the vibe in here. And we got the incense going, which hopefully will help reset the energy, reset the vibe, as my vibe is admittedly off. The vibe is off with me personally. And it's nothing that the incense and the LaCroix Sunshine cannot fix. And it's nothing major. It's not the big things, it's the little things. And isn't that appropriate with us entering Virgo season this week around the little things that get under your skin, the little things that bother you, the little pet peeves. Some of you who watch or listen regularly may know that oftentimes the circumstances of my filming the week's forecast can reflect how we experience the week's astrology. So I will say, to get to the cosmic corner of the internet was a very overstimulating, overwhelming, annoying experience. And again, not the big things. It's like the little things. Like I go to do this, and of course there's like construction trucks outside, so I could not do that. And it was so loud, I could barely hear myself think. It's like 20 million degrees in here. I'm virtually sweating while talking to you in this cosmic corner. I was dropping things. The timing of everything was off. There was mistakes being made. It just was kind of one of those mornings that made me want to jump out of my own skin, which is very Virgo sun squaring Uranus and Gemini coded, which can be a transit that can make us feel a little chaotic, a little all over the place. Uranus absolutely can be a very liberating, empowering, innovative planet, but it can also be one where we want to rebel from our own life. And again, with these little things, life will go on, but sometimes with sun square Uranus, we just want to scream. We just want to run away. We just want to rebel from our life. So I just do need to be honest with you on some of the electric volatility that can be alive within the week's astrology. Virgo is the sign of my moon and my rising, and an element of Virgo energy, or my sixth house energy as well, that has really been coming alive for me is connecting deeper with animals. You know, I have not had a pet in many, many years. Not since my family dog, Xena. R.I.P. You're a real one, Xena. You're a real one. But I haven't had a pet within my adult life just because I am someone who likes to travel and I like to be spontaneous. If someone asks me to go somewhere, I love to be able to do it without having to answer to anyone. My only real responsibilities in life are my plants and my business. And I've liked it that way, or at least I'm not rushing to get to the next era of my life. But my goodness, 2025 has been year of the animals for me. I've shared a couple of experiences here when I was in New New York earlier this year, my friend's cats literally healed me back to health when I was down and out with a horrible cold. I hung out with my friend Sarah's cat Lilith when I was visiting her in Wisconsin. And recently I cat sat for my friend Naomi, who lives in Los Angeles, and her cat Ruby, who's also a Pisces like me. And of course, I knew all of these animals before, but like something has grabbed hold of me this year where I am just so healed by the presence of animals. And weirdly, they're very drawn to me as well. I swear, none of these cats were interested in me before this year. And now with all of these cats, it's like magnets together that they are just so drawn to me and wanting to be like right next to me. It's just felt like the most comforting presence. And oftentimes you will hear with Virgo moons that they are very connected to animals, not saying that that's the only placement that is, but you will commonly hear that. And while I've always loved animals, I've never like felt it as much as I have this year. So I'm putting this out there, universe. I'm talking to the universe that I am open to calling in a familiar, to calling in a cat, but I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to make it happen if it's not meant to be, trusting that the cat distribution system will find me in divine timing if it's meant to be. Because again, this new moon is when we talk, and then I'm just going to leave it open to the universe if a cat finds me this eclipse season. And I think that's kind of the mentality to go into this new moon and then eclipse season, where it's like making your intentions now and then letting it sit. See what comes up. Don't feel like you have to force. Don't feel like you need to enact. Don't feel like you need to control. The universe is hearing us this Friday with the new moon. And then it's time for all of us to listen as it relates to eclipse season around universe. This is what I desire. What is it that you desire for me? So I trust that if a cat is to find me, that is what will unfold in eclipse season. But if it doesn't happen, I'll just keep cat sitting for all of my dear friends. But let's go ahead and give this week's astrology a little bit more nuance with our vibe check of the week. So welcome to Vibe Check of the Week. This is a segment here on Magic Monday where we take all of the astrology this week and every week and compare it to a real life scenario. So if you are newer to understanding astrology and you get lost in the sauce around the squares and the signs and understanding what each of the planets mean, this is an easy, accessible way to take what all of that means and compare it to a real life scenario where you may not know the intricacies of how Leo Sun trining Chiron in Aries and the Virgo Sun squaring Uranus and Gemini may surface. But have you been in a situation like this? Do you know someone like this? It's a way to bring the celestial energetics down here to planet Earth. Because aren't we all coming down to planet Earth with us transitioning into Virgo season? This Friday, August 22nd. So this week's astrology feels like the following situation. You go on vacation and you have an amazing time. You are on that jet ski. You are sipping a pina colada. You are sunbathing. You have some wild tan lines. You have some stories to share. You went swimming with the manta rays. You have been living, as one should be doing, to close out Leo season. But the annoying thing about all things is that they come to an end. Every vacation eventually comes to an end and you have to transition back to real life. Every party comes to an end and you have to put all the party decorations away. Every summer comes to an end and we have to transition back into school and that back into routine and ritual. It's important to note that astrologically speaking, summer does not end here in the Northern Hemisphere until the sun enters Libra. But when it comes to Virgo season, there is a bit of winding down from the heyday of summer and the heyday of Leo season. And so this week's vibe check isn't necessarily all just the vacation. Certainly it's the energy around living it up, jet skiing, saying yes, drinking the pina coladas, but it's really honing in the transition back to reality. As you are readjusting after this vacation and the jet skis and the pina coladas and spending too much money at the souvenir shop, now it's time to go back into real life. Now it's time to unpack. Now it's time to look at your bank account and see just how much you spent on those souvenirs. And you also want to do a post to document this amazing vacation that you had. And to do that, you are looking through your camera roll And there are photos that were taken while you were living it up. There's a photo of you on the jet ski with your mouth wide open in delight because you were having so much fun. There's a photo with you and a pina colada in your hands that's bigger than your head, and you just look so pleased. And you love the photos for that, for the joy that they captured and that you were able to document this experience. But you can't help but notice certain dimensions of your physicality that make you feel some type of way. Where, yes, you love the joy of you on the jet ski and you holding the pina colada, but there's certain elements of your skin that you're like, wow, I really feel like time is going by. I need to take better care of my skin. There's certain elements of your physical body where you're like, wow, I used to have more definition in my arms. What happened to that? We all have our things, right, that we hyper focus on, that we zoom in on, that nobody else would notice. And like I said, when it comes to Virgo season, it's not just the big things, it's the small things where it's like you love this photo of you on the jet ski, but you can't help but notice that because your mouth is so open, you can see those molars of yours that poke out and drive you crazy. No one would notice, but it's all you can see. It's all you can see. When you look at the photo, part of you looks at the joy and honoring that moment, but you just zoom right in on the molars and you don't want to post it because you feel like everybody else would zoom in on that as well. They won't. It's so eye-opening when you talk with people around what their thing is, you know, what their insecurity is, because oftentimes it's like, I would have never thought that about you or observed that about you. But again, this week with Venus, the planet of beauty, squaring off with Chiron, there could just be acknowledgement around those elements of our beauty that bother us, that make us feel insecure, that make us feel not good enough, around who would want me with these sagging elbows, or who would want to see this photo on their Instagram with these strange molars, these small things that no one would notice. People see your energy. They see your vibe. They do not zero in on these elements of your physicality, but you do. And so we'll say as you're going through the camera roll, you just can't help but notice these elements of yourself where you're like, I need to take better care of my skin. And gosh, when's the last time I went to the dentist? I wonder if there's anything that can be done. It prompts and brings up all of these insecurities that somewhat taint these photos and these joyful memories. And so when a friend asks you, how's the trip? Can I see any photos? You have such mixed reactions because you want to share your joy with this person. You want to be visible for this amazing trip that you had. But there's also these insecurities that were pinged. And there's also this energy around not wanting to be seen, not wanting to be visible, not wanting to be perceived. And that energy stays with you, where now you don't want to post anything. You don't even want to be seen. You have to go back to the office and you're like, don't look at me. Don't look at my molars. Like those photos just kind of made you look at these elements of life that, yes, are small, but it's just arenas of your physicality that make you feel insecure, that make you feel like you want to hide, that make you feel like you want to withdraw. And you know this is not the way in which you want to live your life. And the answer is not to hide away so that no one ever has to see your molars and your skin ever again. You decide a new mentality is needed to look at the photos, zoom out, zero out. Virgo energy can make us get really microscopic around things and like zoom in on all these arenas, but a new mentality is needed. Virgo New Moon squaring Uranus and Gemini, a change of perspective can change your life. So you view the photos from a different perspective, zeroing back out, taking in the joy, the celebration of that particular moment. So you decide, rather than just complaining about my skin and cringing when I look at photos of my skin, how can I invest in a new skincare routine? How can I start showing up for my skin in order to nurture my own becoming? Rather than hating what I see, how can I nurture what I see? And I want to be so clear here. I'm not saying everybody needs to get their molars shaved down if they're insecure about their teeth, or spend a bunch of money on plastic surgery if they're sensitive about their skin. But the energy of Virgo New Moon is, how can I show up for the small arenas of my life, the maintenance of my life, in order to support my becoming, so that when I see certain photos of myself, I see, wow, my face feels so radiant, feels so beaming. It's a reflection of the work I put in and day out. The little things become big things. I know that sometimes Virgo energy can make us so microscopic. We're freaking out about our molars and our skin. And sometimes that energy could make us want to hide away, not wanting to be perceived, not wanting to put ourselves out there, feeling that other people will hyperfixate on our own imperfections because that's what we do. But the answer instead, with this Virgo new moon squaring Uranus and Gemini, what are some changes that I can have for my routines that will support my becoming? How can I see this as an element of self-love? It's not hating myself. It's not fighting against my skin. It's nurturing my skin. It's not seeking to move in this direction of perfection. I want to feel glowing and beaming. I want that to be the energy that is captured on photograph or when other people meet me. And I can nurture my own becoming rather than tackle the problem. That's also what I want to highlight here, is that sometimes when we go into a skincare routine around, I've got to fight the acne or I have to fight the wrinkles, we're fighting against what we don't want rather than moving towards what we want. Or if we go to talk to our dentist around, I hate my molars, shave them down, it's not supporting our goal of more tooth symmetry for a more even smile. It's fighting against what we don't want. And the Virgo energy, we could obsess over what we don't want in the small arenas around what's going wrong. But there's an energy of, yes, new rituals, new routines, new beginnings in your life, but having the proper mindset around it with Uranus and Gemini around, this is getting me closer to radiant skin, beaming skin. Or if you are making the intention this week to get back in the gym, it's not fighting against the body that you don't want. It's moving towards the health and the vitality of what you do want. Because to a mental perspective, if we are thinking pointy molars, gotta get away from the pointy molars. If we're thinking red skin, or wrinkled skin, what we're sending out, the frequency we are emitting to the universe is exactly what we don't want, what we don't desire. It's like a Google search. You wouldn't put in wrinkled skin if you wanted to see examples of glowing, radiant, beaming skin. It's important to be intentional with your words. Your word is your wand. We're entering a Mercury ruled season. Yes, this is the final lunation, which we can talk to the universe, but be clear with your language. Be directive with your language around, I am calling in glowing, radiant skin, and adding to that, I'm willing to do the work. I'm going to purchase the face wash. I'm going to get the toner, and I'm actually going to show up for it. That big vision of glowing, beaming skin, that is a lot of daily dedication. That is discipline. That is diligence. And I'm calling in the glowing skin. I'm also calling in the discipline to maintain that. And I'm going to love that version of me who is having a great time on the jet ski. I'm going to love these photos of me within my joy. I'm still going to post them, but I'm going to allow this experience to be a catalyst to making necessary lifestyle shifts that will allow me to express myself in ways that feel really good, in ways that feel very me with the new moon squaring Uranus. And so we will get into more levels of this vibe check. I just want to let you know that all times that I mention are PDTs. So please adjust to your time zone if you are located elsewhere in the world than I am. So happy Monday, August 18th. We start the day with the moon in Gemini. The Gemini moon will sextile the Leo sun in the morning hours, which may be supportive if you work with words, if you create with words. Again, your word is your wand. I love that the Magician card within tarot corresponds to Mercury, because words are magic, and being very intentional with your words and your language and what it is that you're calling in. Mercury is also the trickster. So sometimes we call something in and we're like, ooh, not like that. Like sometimes we do have to be very clear when we talk to the universe around, hey, this is what I'm calling in. Because sometimes we get what we want and we're like, ooh, but I didn't mean it like that. Have you ever had that where you call something in, you're like, universe, I call in a break, and then it just so happens that you get let go from one of your jobs and you're like, not like that. Or we call in abundance and then we win a coffee gift card where it's like, okay, yes, but I'm calling in abundance in the form of money. Like sometimes you have to be very clear. With the energy of Virgo, we're moving into a season where it helps to be very clear and very concise. And again, this is the last kind of co-creative lunation. The next eclipses are just kind of like, see what the cosmos is creating for you. This is the one to really co-create and to honor our words as a part of that, to be very clear in what we desire. Because because, sometimes Mercury energy will get a little trickstery where we write on our list of the soulmate we're calling in, we write, has the ability to be spontaneous and drop everything to travel with me. And then it just so happens this person shows up and they don't work. They don't have a job. So yeah, they are able to travel with you, but you'll likely be footing the bill. It's kind of like a be careful what you wish for energy. And it's not to say that Monday you need to write your soulmate list or even call things in. Like that would be more of a Friday activity. We're currently in the waning crescent moon phase, which is around shedding and releasing. But there is just a recognition around, even if you're not saying, hey, universe, I'm asking for this, I'm intending on this. It's just being very intentional around what you're creating mentally, how you're framing your days, starting your days with deliberate intent. If you are someone who, when you wake up, you get pulled into everybody else's energy, you are on social media, you are replying to this person, you are putting out this fire for work. I know it's so redundant. I know it's so repeated over and over and over again, but there is so much power in the first portion of your day and setting the frequency, setting the vibe before the vibe sets you. Sometimes the vibe will set you and you just get pulled into chaos and other people's emergencies and other people's thoughts and other people's comments that you forget to even say, this is the sort of day I want to have. These are the sort of experiences I want to call in. This is the vibration I want to honor. So I would encourage you to really be intentional around starting your day in silence, to really remember you are a cosmic creator, both in how you frame experiences with the Gemini moon sextiling Leo sun, as well as how you see yourself within it. It's important to know that not everybody is thinking about you. And I don't share that in a way to be down on you. I want that to be freeing. I don't want that to be limiting. When you realize that nobody is zooming in on your molars, when you realize that nobody is looking at your skin and thinking, gosh, they need a facial, no one is thinking that. And if they are, they need to literally get a life. That is loser behavior. Loser, double loser, as if, whatever, get the picture, duh. I don't even know what that's from. That's from some movie or something. My sister and I used to always repeat that. But that's neither here nor there. I'm saying that it's important to know that not everybody is thinking about us as much as we are. We are the center of our solar system, right? We're wrapping up Leo season. And of course, I want you to feel like a main character. I want you to express yourself and illuminate your glow. But it's important to know when it comes to work mistakes. I know that we tend to hyperfixate and freak out, but nobody's thinking about it as much as you are. When it comes to your insecurities, I promise to you, people are not going to sleep thinking, gosh, so-and-so's molars really are pointy. There's also an energy with the Gemini moon sextiling Leo sun, how you frame yourself within your own life and really centering your joy. Post those photos because they're a capture of your joy. Post those photos because they make you feel good. Post those photos because you like to document and express your life. It will be likely a small flicker of someone's day. They will scroll by it, be like, oh, jet skiing, that looks fun. Where is this? I would love to vacation here. Double tap, move on with their life. Maybe there will be a lurker or two or hater or two who look at the photos without double tapping, without liking, but whatever. Need I do my little dance before? Loser. The only thing I would deem as loser behavior is someone else judging someone for having fun. And that's the biggest thing when it comes to social media, when it comes to anything. If you're having fun, if you're expressing yourself, if what you're wearing makes you feel good, if what you're posting makes you feel good, that is key at the end of the day. So the energy of Gemini sun with the sextile to Leo sun is remember who it is that you are. Come back to yourself and your telling of your own story. And also remember that everybody is the center of their own galaxies. Everybody's just thinking about themselves. They're thinking about their elbows. They're thinking about their knees. They're thinking about how people are perceiving them. And so if you are waiting to live or stopping yourself from living out of fear of being perceived, you are sacrificing so much for what's truly a smidge of someone else's journey, a smidge of somebody else's experience. And so even if you're not posting, to my Scorpio placements, my 12th housers are probably like, Haley, come, I'm certainly not posting a photo of me on a jet ski. to start my Monday. Even if it's not that, it's just going into your work week and just remembering nobody's thinking about me as much as I'm thinking about me. And that helps return things to their proper size. If there are things that you're insecure about, if there were work mistakes, if there were elements of yourself that you feel like are on full display, just return them to proper size. You know, there definitely is an energy this week around making mountains out of molehills. And so it's going to be important to center things back into their proper size, as well as laugh at yourself if possible with the Gemini moon around, how silly that I almost didn't post this photo because I thought my molars were too pointy. Like, come on. Sometimes you got to check yourself. And the Gemini moon also sextiles Chiron in Aries. So if you are having a more negative thought stream, it helps to journal on it, write about it. Sometimes you can see how ridiculous it is around in this big, wide, wonderful world with all of the causes that I could be supporting, with all of the impact that I could be making. I'm here freaking out about my molars. Like sometimes you got to check yourself. And we don't always recognize it when it's in our thoughts and we're just like in a victim loop or we're just in like a woe is me loop. We don't always see how ridiculous it is. Sometimes when we write it out and just let it out of our system without judgment, we see that it's kind of silly and we're able to like kind of laugh at ourselves and realize nobody is going around thinking about my molars. Nobody is. And if they are, again, loser, loser, double loser. And adding to that, I do want to share that we have that separating aspect of Mercury in Leo sextile Mars in Libra. So even like an energy around being in your own head, around you sent a DM and they haven't gotten back to you, you sent an email and they haven't gotten back to you, and being in your own head around, what does this mean? Does it mean that they hate me? No, it just means that people are busy and they might have a lot going on. Like we are not the center of everybody else's solar system. And it's important to just remember that because sometimes we can blow things out of proportion and over exaggerate our own significance in the grander scheme of things. I'm not saying you are not significant. I'm not saying that you are important, but it's just knowing people have a lot going on within their daily lives. So if someone treats you kind of funny, or again, they don't get back to an email or something like this, you don't need to spiral and get in your own head around, do they hate me? Is it this? Is it that? People have their own stuff going on because we live in a society in which we feel like we always need to be reachable and we always need to be accessible, which isn't so good for mental health. Again, like I said, it's important to set our own vibe when we start the day with deliberate intent. And that means making conscious decisions when logging onto social media, when going on to email, deciding when we're using the apps rather than the apps deciding when they're using us. That's why I have all my notifications off. It does make me very bad at responding in a timely manner, but I think it's important to set the intent around I am logging into email. I am checking my social media rather than these apps telling us when our presence is warranted. It's just returning yourself back to the center of your solar system in a helpful way, not in a way around everybody hates me and all of my insecurities are on display and everybody is just thinking about my molars day in and day out. But remembering, I am the center of my solar system. I decide when I'm officially logging into work. I decide when I'm officially reachable on email. I decide when I am open for Instagram DMs. This is not for other people to request my energy at beck and call, not in the center of my solar system and deciding that. And when we step into that for ourselves, we also have to allow that for others, that other people may not be accessible at a drop of a hat. And we also need to blow it up by making it mean something. So I just want to share that just in case anybody, shot their shot last week with Mercury sextile Mars and is waiting for a response and freaking out because you have not received it. Let things play out, let things settle, and also honor if there's a spontaneous idea that you have for a social media post early today, a creative idea that you want to write about it. There could absolutely be some creative, bold energy for you alive that morning. At 12:05 p.m. PDT, the moon will enter Cancer, which is, of course, home turf for the moon. And when the moon is in its domicile, mooning quite strong. So now we've got the sun sunning in Leo and the moon mooning in Cancer. And one thing about the luminaries, and I say this with love, but luminary energy is a little extra. It is a little exaggerated. We're feeling all of the things. We can be a little bit more dramatic, a little bit more in touch with the smallest nuances of our own, the responses to the world around us. The Cancer moon will square off with Saturn and square off with Neptune on Monday. So there can be an energy midday where you feel exhausted. You feel like you hit a wall. You look at the clock at 3 p.m. and you're like, where did all of the time go? What did I even do today? There could be an energy where the feels we're feeling, you just felt yourself getting pulled in many different directions, and it just made you feel a little lost in the sauce as you navigated your day. You can feel a little bit more crabby. It's important to note we are in the waning crescent moon phase, which is around shedding, releasing as we prepare for the new moon. And so sometimes there is a call to hermit, to withdraw. And this is part of life. We tend to think we need to be thriving 100% of the time, posting 100% of the time, creating 100% of the time, but we're not machines. We're part of nature. There's waxes and wanes. There's seasons for these sort of things. And so it's important to allow yourself that space to know just because I'm not posting right now doesn't mean that I'm never posting. Maybe I'm just drawing more of my energy inward, or maybe just the vibe's off. I don't want to post, or maybe I just don't feel like being social this week, and that's okay. Honor your intuition, honor what you're feeling inspired to do, because oftentimes when we listen to the call, when we listen to the nudge, that's when we feel into the nudge around, I'm inspired to post, I'm inspired to reach out, I'm inspired to shoot my shot, I'm inspired to create. And so it's not forcing it if you're not feeling it, and also just nourishing and honoring your inner landscape and your physical abode as well. On Tuesday, August 16th at 10:29 a.m. PDT, the Leo Sun will trine Chiron in Aries. This is the first of 2 Chiron aspects we will experience this week. And Chiron energy brings illumination, in today's case, to our healing, to our pain, to our insecurities, to our inadequacies. And this is more of a harmonious flow of energy. What we're experiencing more towards the weekend, Venus in Cancer squaring Chiron in Aries, is more so the wince. That's more so the energy around looking at the photos, looking at the molars, looking at the skin, and just feeling the ouch feeling of that, around how layered and nuanced it is. It can even bring up certain contemplations around getting teased about your molars when you were younger, or bringing to the surface other embedded stories around, of course, you're not taking care of your skin. You don't take care of all of these other arenas of life. You're a loser. You're this, you're that. Chiron energy can bring awareness to these embedded stories, but it can also bring the potential for healing, for vulnerability. Today's alignment involves the sun, which is around ego, identity. And again, the healing power around recognizing we're in our solar system and we get to dictate what it is that we allow in our energy and on what basis and at which times, referencing social media apps yesterday, but also other arenas of life, which social invitations you want to say yes to, which you want to say no to, what you want to post. Like remembering that you are a sovereign creator. There's something healing around remembering that, knowing that you have dominion of what it is that you allow within your kingdom, so to speak. Leo is associated with royalty, which is why I'm referring to it that way. And remembering that, where yes, we may not be able to control things on a bigger level, especially when we move into eclipse season, but you can decide who gets to be within your close inner circle. You can decide how it is that you delegate your time. It's like really remembering to take the throne in the seat of the co-creator of your life and feeling the healing of that, especially if there's versions of you that felt at the mercy of other individuals and their orbits and their timelines and their schedules and their wants and their desires. There can be something powerful around centering ourselves around, no, I don't have to put up with this. I don't have to withstand this. I don't need to be online for a 6 a.m. call when my workday starts at 9. Like remembering that you have the power to dictate where it is that you show up and how it is that you show up. And you have the power to decree and declare what it is that you will and will not allow, what it is that you will and will not withstand. In some seasons of life, we don't necessarily feel that. It's not that we can necessarily usurp the CEO at our company and totally change our work schedule, or it's not that we can completely take charge of the neighborhood and declare that they all need to be quiet in accordance to your schedule. It's not saying we can control the universe, but in terms of your solar system, in terms of your world, you are the center of it. And this can also be the healing power of visibility, even with all of your flaws and all of your insecurities, where in that photo, you have this wild, wide smile on your face that just so captures your joy. And yes, it shows your molars, it shows your teeth. Yes, your skin could be better, what have you, but you're beautiful even with these imperfections. Those imperfections are what make you beautiful. Cue One Direction. And taking into account the bigger picture of it, even with these flaws, even with these insecurities and these inadequacies, allowing these parts of yourself to be viewed, to be public. Sometimes that can be healing around the younger version of you who never wanted to smile because you didn't want other people to see your molars. That's suppressing your own joy. There can be something freeing around, yes, I've got pointy molars, but this is my joy. This is my expression. I'm allowed to take up space. This is my solar system. It's remembering that. And it's reclaiming that. If there's any space where you feel uncomfortable, you don't want to be perceived, even if it's like you're scared to post on Instagram because you're like, what are people going to think? It's like you get to set the tone there. You get to declare, this is a space where I'm documenting memories. I'm having fun. I'm expressing myself. I'm taking charge of this kingdom of mine. I'm taking dominion of my page. I'm deciding what this is, and I'm allowing myself to be perceived. And yes, with my insecurities, with my vulnerabilities, here I am. And feeling into the healing that comes from that, as well as if you enjoy doing something that you're not particularly good at, like you love to sing karaoke and then you have so much fun, you put on a whole show and then you hear it back and you're like, gosh, I certainly missed that high note, right? It's not taking away from the joy of just expressing yourself and being willing silly because it's you and you're having fun. And does it feel like you're putting yourself out there? Yes, but this is your solar system. This is your life. Put yourself out there. Allow yourself to be seen. So if there's a space that you've been hiding your light, you haven't wanted to show up on Instagram, you haven't wanted to show up in the office or attract any attention to yourself, with the energy of Leo Sun trining Chiron, it could also just be a soft nudge of energy around the healing potency around allowing yourself to be visible and recognizing that it's not that the meeting all laughed at you and pointed your fingers. It's not that people on Instagram sent a bunch of hate comments. And if they did, loser, loser, double loser. Truly, haters are losers. But regardless, it's this energy around sometimes when we face our fears of visibility, we recognize it's not that bad or it's not that scary. And even if there are haters or negative comments, oftentimes it's not as scary as we've built it up, as we've made it mean. Maybe someone comments like, oh my goodness, your molars are really pointy. But sometimes when you face that fear around, this is the worst. I was fearful that someone would point out this immense insecurity that I have. Sometimes when we face that fear, we recognize that's what I've been keeping myself hidden from. That's why I haven't been posting these amazing trips that I've been going on. Like, no, I want to keep sharing. I want to keep expressing myself. One comment isn't going to hold me back. And in fact, negative comments can actually be a sign that you are on the right track, which I know sounds very silly, but for my creators out there, those who post on social media, who put your creativity out there in any way, in any facet, it is a sign of success when you start to get some negative commentary. And it's important to train your brain to see it that way. We have a lot of energy this week around mindset reframes, new shifts, new lease on life, new perspective with that Virgo New Moon squaring Uranus. Change your mind, change your life is alive this week. And it's important to train your mind to get excited when there is negative commentary, not if you are out of integrity or you're not speaking your truth or you're not doing something that you believe in. That's nothing to celebrate. It's not that every attention is good attention. But if it is something that you put your heart in, you're authentic, you're true in, and it wasn't someone else's cup of tea, celebrate when those comments come in. I'm not kidding. I got my first, guys, celebration. I got my first negative comment. Round of applause. You would have thought I won a Grammy the way that I was floating on a cloud for the rest of the day, because that was my first negative podcast comment. And I want to be so clear, it was not vicious. It was so valid. It was just somebody who was like, I tried to like this podcast, but the host talks too much or whatever. I don't know what they said exactly. But I was so excited because they called me a podcaster. I was like, oh my God, because I'm so used to that on YouTube. I get so many of those comments on YouTube, but this was my first podcast negative comment, which means I'm a podcaster. For those who do not know, this has been a show on YouTube. It just recently became available on podcasts as well. So just a heads up, if any of you are ever driving, trying to fall asleep, it's also available there. And getting my first comment there was so exciting. It was like a milestone because I'm used to that on YouTube, and getting my first one on a new platform, it's sort of just became this recognition around, oh my goodness, I'm a podcaster now. And you're not going to grow anything. You're not going to succeed. You're not going to create with the Leo Sun, Trine, and Chiron without some negative commentary, without some criticism, without some feedback. And you get to decide how you position that within your solar system. I decided to position that as a hell yeah. Hell yeah, that means that the show is growing. This person might have found the show on a podcast platform. Like, that's exciting that there's more reach in various ways. Hell yeah. I am framing this as a win within my own solar system. And that's a sign of growth also, just on a personal level, because I also used to be someone who's very, very hypersensitive as it relates to criticism. And I will say this, social media was great exposure therapy, because now I'm out here celebrating the negative commentary. Not that that was a mean one. There's definitely some meaner comments that go on, none of which that are appropriate. But nevertheless, it's important how you frame things and to know insecurities, inadequacies are part of life. We all have them. And seeing where it is that you can own them, where it is that you can see it as a part of what makes you beautiful, a part of what makes you unique, a part of how your creativity is meant to shine out into the world. Alchemize what is painful, what is hard about your journey into a way to create, a way to express yourself could also be an energy here. And also on Tuesday, the moon's in Cancer all day long. It aligns with Jupiter at 3:02 p.m. Venus and Jupiter are currently separating, so the moon will also meet up with Venus early Wednesday as well. Let me know how that Venus conjunct Jupiter energy was last week. Did you eat a lot of sweets? Did you go on a date? I would love to know. But this should be an energy that's bountiful. This should be an energy that is abundant. Now, Jupiter expands for better and for worse. And with this on moon, some of you can experience expansion of your emotions in terms of sentimentality, in terms of sadness. I do want to share, sometimes things surface before a new moon to be swept away. And the encouragement with this alignment in Cancer is really, where is it that you can nurture? Where is that you can nourish yourself amidst the recognition of the changing tides of what it is that you're feeling? You may find as this alignment exacts around 3 p.m., you're inclined to retreat, to take a bath, to go to the water, to pet your cat, if you're lucky enough to have one, to do the things that really pour into what is sacred, what's within. You know, the moon is shedding its last light. It's now moving to this more secretive time. And like I said, it's not that we need to constantly debut ourselves and express ourselves and be seen on this bigger level. It's just around honoring the cycles, honoring the seasons, honoring when it is that you are gathering material, and honoring when it is that you are sharing that material out into the world, honoring where it is that you're creating in secrecy, and honoring where it is that you are posting and putting it out there. It's just around being very attuned to your own inner cycles and trusting your own GPS to guide you within that. Following your instincts is important here. On Wednesday, August 20th, as I highlighted, the Cancer moon will align with Venus in the wee hours of the morning around 5:30 a.m. And this could be an energy around wanting to make a delicious breakfast or show your love and appreciation for someone by nurturing them, by pouring into them, by leaving them a sweet note, or reminiscing on a memory, or packing them a lunch and leaving a little note saying love you with a little smiley face, something like this. And while this is a sweet energy, a pleasant energy, a harmonious energy, the moon then squares off with Chiron. This exacts just before 11 a.m. And this emphasizes the Venus square Chiron energy that is building to exact later on in this week. So yesterday we had Sun trine Chiron. This is acknowledgement of what hurts, where we're wounded, where we feel insecure, where we feel not good enough, where we feel internally and intrinsically flawed with Chiron and Aries. But it's still choosing to show up. It's still choosing to shine. It's still choosing to express ourselves if that's what it is that we want to do. It's even seeing the unique perspective that those tender parts of ourselves give us in how we show up and how we shine. What's building later on this week is more so the wins, the ouch, the energy around feeling fundamentally not worthy because of your flaws, feeling fundamentally not lovable because of your flaws, feeling not beautiful because of your flaws, and wanting to hide with Venus in Cancer, wanting to go back into your shell. It's the crab. And there could be shades of that alive on Wednesday with the moon squaring Chiron around feeling insecure, feeling too sensitive to survive, feeling a little bit triggered. There could be themes of belonging that are triggering you, family themes that are triggering you, family patterns, generational patterns that are triggering you. And again, things do surface to be swept away before a new moon. So there could be some yuckiness, some spikiness, or just some tenderness emerging, and definitely a more sensitive day. And again, with the moon in Cancer, there's a focus around how is it that I can nourish myself amidst this. You know, as I shared, getting ready for Magic Monday, I was very overstimulated and overwhelmed, and they were all small things. So there can be an energy around, you know, telling yourself it's not that big of a deal, that there's noises and that it's hot and all of these things. But sometimes you just have to stop, drop, and be like, okay, I'm feeling overstimulated. I'm feeling overly triggered. And yes, I can be hard on myself and beat myself up that I'm not able to just push through, or I could just take this opportunity to be loving and gentle with myself. Who's going to be loving and gentle with myself if I don't? And the moon will enter Leo at 4:17 p.m., which draws our awareness to confidence, visibility, expressing ourselves. And the Leo moon will trine Saturn, it'll sextile Uranus, it'll trine Neptune, it'll oppose Pluto. And with the opposition to Pluto, you definitely can feel your emotions in a more intense place, fear of the future, taking away the joy of the present moment. You can also feel like your joy is being siphoned by those around you. You can feel how other people are pulling on your energy, or even trying to manipulate you or pull you into their orbit, pull you into what they want. And it's just important with the Leo moon trining Saturn and Neptune and filing Uranus to just witness when that comes up and recenter yourself back within your own solar system. This is not me suggesting to be self-centered and to not help other people out. Leo is a very generous energy, but sometimes people will want you to give to them in a more manipulative, sneaky, or sinister way. Pluto energy is very sneaky. It's very beneath the surface. And there just could be an energy where you're just like aware of that, where you see a certain email from your boss who's saying, is there any way you could stay late tomorrow? I'm so screwed because the vendor did this and that, like putting all of this information on you to try to make you feel sorry for them, even though that is not part of what you are meant to do for this company. And just important to clock that. Again, you are in the center of your solar system. You can choose if you want to show up, if you want to give, if you want to help, if you want to put your energy there, but put your validation there. It's up to you. But the opposite to Pluto, it's just like, clock it when you see it. Sometimes you could just sense and feel around, oh, you're trying to pull me down so that I'm miserable for you, or you're trying to make me feel guilty and feel sorry for you so that we're on the same vibration. It's just not giving out your energy without your consent. Because sometimes we do that. We just get pulled into somebody else's drama or chaos or misery or whatever is going on. And then we realize that we're orbiting around their issue and we're like, how did I get here? You are an empowered creator. It's up to you to decide, do I want to enmesh myself in this situation? Am I able to do so in a heartfelt way, in a genuine way, in an authentic way? Or am I feeling coerced to do so, energetically coerced and manipulated to do so? It's just important to clock it when you see it and to remind yourself that you have the choice, you have the opportunity. Other than that, there just could be an energy within the evening time around putting your energy, your life force into matters that are constructive, that are helpful, and just really seeking to starve what in your life gives more anxiety or overwhelm or makes you feel out of control. Pay attention and warm the arenas of your life that are in your control and freeze out the elements of your life that are not in your control. What you focus upon will bloom and prosper. On Thursday, August 21st, the moon is in Leo all day long. I want to share that Leo moon, yes, is heartfelt and creative and authentic and expressive. But with us being the day before the new moon, you could feel a little bit more tired, drained, as I highlighted, emotional. Sometimes we feel a nudge where we want to get rid of everything. We want to deep clean. A random storyline I'm feeling surfacing for some is that this Virgo sun squaring Uranus in Gemini, you could be feeling this energy of wanting to jump out of your own skin around your house, like looking around, just feeling like everything's filthy. Like you've been having fun all summer and now you're like, there's sand all over. Everything feels gross. And Uranus energy, it can feel bothered. It can feel agitated. We can be like, everything is wrong and everything is dirty. And sometimes there is this nudge around wanting to release, to clear out the clutter, to find more stillness, to have more space. And again, it is nice to live in a clean environment, to maintain a clean environment, but you can just have this energy building towards this weekend where all of a sudden you look around your home and you're like, have things been this filthy? Because Virgo energy just really activates our detail-oriented mind. So all of a sudden you can notice my baseboards are filthy, or like, has the sand been here since the last time we went to the beach? Like all of a sudden you could just feel very bothered by something that was there the whole time. Again, the color was there the whole time. Moving into this period and beyond, the saturation turns up. So we just notice things that we didn't before. And this could be an energy around, there's so much stuff. I want less stuff. I want to get rid of my stuff. Something like this could start to build. But outside of that, the Leo moon does align with Mercury in Leo. So there can be illuminating conversations, insights, even intuitive hits. The moon sextiles Mars in Libra, 8:44 a.m. Like we were talking about last week, which by the way, you can get caught up on last week's Magic Monday podcast episode. But we're talking a lot around shooting your shot. I'll get questions sometimes around how do I strengthen my intuition? And one of the best ways is to get quiet, to meditate. You guys know how big I am on that. But also it's around following the nudges, following the breadcrumb. Have you ever had a friend where you give them advice and they never integrate it? They never work with it within their life. You are a little less likely to give them advice because you're like, you're not taking it. Sometimes it's like that with the universe as well, where it's like giving you the nudge, handing you the basketball, but you're not shooting. You're not enacting it. Sometimes the best way to develop that muscle is to show the universe and your intuition that you trust it by moving in that direction. Sometimes that's where it gets even richer and even more developed and strengthening it from that dimension. And you don't always know at that particular moment that it was a miss. Like sometimes it's like you reached out to someone to collaborate and you didn't hear anything back and you think, oh, that was a flop. My intuition must be off. I don't know why I felt that nudge, but you never know. They might actually see it in 2 years' time and then get back to you. And that's when it's meant to come into alignment. Like we just don't know the bigger story that's being written at this moment, especially with us moving into eclipse season. So it's honoring the nudges as we move towards it, as well as if you are creative, honoring the nudges there, honoring the boldness there, listening as well as talking is important here. Sometimes with Mercury and Leo, it's a very storytelling placement around telling our story and empowering ourselves as the main character within our reality. But it's also important to listen. Again, tell the universe, I'm calling in glowing, beaming skin. I'm calling in a confident smile, but also listening to the universe, where maybe we schedule that dentist appointment to get the molars shaved off and we experience a ton of resistance getting there. And then it just feels off. It's like, are you listening? And the universe might be setting you up around where it's like, well, no, other individuals look up to other individuals who also are insecure around their smiles, look up to you. And that makes you a more powerful creator because there is this energy of relatability alive there or shining even amidst that. And it's not part of your path to shave off your molars. Like that's why it's important to talk around, I want to feel more confident in my smile, but also listen around where is the universe actually answering that prayer, answering that manifestation, maybe in a different way than I would have thought or intended. Again, as I was highlighting earlier with this Mercury energy, your word is your wand. Be intentional with your language, be directive with your language, but know that sometimes the universe will answer your prayer in a different way, in even a more beautiful way. This is not exactly how I wanted to show up, but it's how it's meant to show up. That's really the energy of what we're stepping into as we move into eclipse season tomorrow and beyond, is that, yes, we are empowered co-creators. Yes, we can ask the universe for what it is that we desire. Yes, we can make changes that will beneficially enrich our life. But there are certain things that we are meant for. We have desires, but there are certain things that desire us. We can feel like we know exactly where we want our story to go, but the universe might have an even more fascinating ending that it's orchestrating and aligning on our behalf. It's such a delicate balance. So definitely talk, communicate, put your desires out there, put your ideas out there, but also remember to listen. And really with this energy, it's the last day of the fire sign season. So the sun is at the 29th degree of Leo today. And the 29th degree of any sign is a degree that is urgent. It can sometimes bring this like now or never energy. And especially in a fire sign, we could just be a little bit more agitated or more inclined for action, or again, a little bit more turned up, like our volume dial is turned up. And what's interesting about 29 degrees Leo particularly is that the sun is currently aligned with the fixed star Regulus. Now, those of you who listen to my forecast know that I don't often pull in a lot of fixed stars, but it just felt relevant to mention this week that with the energy of Regulus, this is a fixed star that is associated with kingly behavior. Hence all of my verbiage this week around you are on the throne of your own kingdom. You decide what comes in and out, and you have sovereignty and autonomy around what it is that you allow within your space. Remember that. But there also could just be individuals who are behaving like a little too big for their britches or something like this. So there can be some frustration around that, as well as just frustration in general. Sometimes the last degree of a sign can just feel a little uncomfortable because we're on the precipice. And with this fire energy, things could be a little bit more explosive, exaggerated, dramatic. On Friday, August 22nd, we enter Virgo season. The sun enters Virgo at 1:34 p.m. PDT, which kicks off birthday season for all of our beautiful Virgos out there. Virgo, thank you so much for your helpful, diligent nature. Thank you so much for really seeking to serve humanity and help other individuals, whether that's by way of your extremely honest advice, your criticism, your discernment. Having your eyes on any project, on any problem is truly a gift. Thank you so much for the high standards that you hold and that you encourage the rest of the zodiac to have within their worlds. Thank you for your commitment to taking care of this physical planet and the creatures who live on it. Thank you for your strong mind-body connection, your ability to heal, your ability to discern, your ability to ground down. We love you. I hope that you enjoy your season, even though it is eclipse season as well. I hope that you enjoy it. And for all of us, as we navigate Virgo season, there is this focus around getting back to routines, getting back to our rituals, right? The heyday of summer in the Northern Hemisphere is winding down. The party's over. The vacation's over. Now it's time to unpack. Now it's time to clean up. Now it's time to get back to our fitness classes. Now it's time to get back into the rhythm of things. And that's really the emphasis with Virgo energy, is the rhythm of things. Showing up every single day, whether you feel like it or not, whether your content is popping off or not, whether you wanted to get out of bed this morning or not, it's still showing up every day. Virgo emphasizes these everyday rhythms, these everyday routines. If it does not show up within your day, it will not show up within your life. And the energy of Virgo season and the Virgo New Moon later on tonight that we will discuss is around showing up for the everyday. I want this for my forever, so it's showing up within my day-to-day. Every single day, I make that decision to create. Every single day, I make that decision to hydrate my body, to do my skincare. And some of these results are not overnight. right? Like we will say within this week's vibe check, it's like seeing the images, it really inspired you to focus on your skincare. And it's not like overnight, all of a sudden, all of your skin insecurities are fixed. It's like it takes that diligence, it takes that discipline, and it's bigger than just the actions that you put in. It's what that mentally signals. It's not just around the face wash and the toner and the serums and all of that. It's you dedicating that time to yourself and affirming to mind, body, and soul, I'm worthy of maintaining, I'm worthy of nurturing myself with Jupiter in Cancer. And it's important how we frame these activities. I keep emphasizing that with the Virgo New Moon squaring Uranus and Gemini. These are two Mercury signs. We could have two people doing the same activity where we do the face wash and the toner and the serum. One person having thoughts around, my acne and this wrinkle and all of these things that are so wrong. And one person who is around really nourishing their skin, like really envisioning supple, radiant, glowing skin. Who do you think is going to glow more? It's not just what we do, but it's the frequency that we emit as we do it via our thoughts, via our mentality, via how we frame that activity. Have you seen the water study? I think everybody has seen the water study, but the water study is such an exemplification of this. Essentially, if you have not seen it, basically there were cruel, mean words spoken into water and then very kind, loving words spoken into water. And it shows within the molecular structure of the water. We are composed of mainly water. So it's also like, what are you telling yourself? What are the words that you are echoing? If anyone is trying to get fit or really show up for their physical fitness, focus on what you are moving towards, not what weight you're trying to lose or what body parts you don't like. I guarantee going to work out and making nutritious food from this mindset around, I'm so worthy of treating my body well and I love to move my body and I love my body. Having that mentality, you will actually speed up your manifestation of the body you want, the health that you want so much quicker than if you get there because you're like, I hate my body and this is the worst. I remember when I used to work out from this lens around really hating my body, hating my vessel. And I worked out harder than I ever have in my whole life. Like I was really, really into it, but it wasn't from this like joyful pursuit of loving to move my body and loving my body and wanting to feel my best. It was very much around hating my body, wanting it to be different. And so the lens that I approached fitness was very much around punishing. It was very much around restricting. It was very much around hating. And what's strange is that my body did not change at all. If anything, I felt like it moved in a different direction than what I wanted. And I was like, what is happening? I feel like I'm restricting so much. I'm pushing myself so hard. I'm doing and doing and doing, but my mindset was so off. And once I shifted it, I found ways of moving my body that really aligned for me, that made me feel really good. I saw it as a way to love and appreciate myself. Everything that I desired came to me with so much more ease. It's not just what you do, it's how you do it. If you go through your morning routine, you're like, I gotta meditate and then I gotta da-da-da. Listen, I have some of those mornings as well, but it's also important the energy that you put into these activities. You could do all of the right things, go through all of the motions, and still not get the energetic desires that you want manifested because of the mindset that you're moving into them with. We may live in a tangible physical world, but there's so much more. And it's important to not just go through the motions, but to be present and to know it's not just washing your face. It's giving to yourself. It's pouring into yourself. It's honoring this mission towards radiant skin. It's not just going to the gym. It's gifting your body with movement. It's feeling the strength that you're building. It's not just making a meal. It's also really giving your body the nutrients that it wants. It's setting your day with deliberate intent. It's listening to the universe and if it has any messages for you as you step into the day. It's important not to just go through the motions or to do the things, but also to encourage the proper mentality around it. These themes around self-hatred or self-deprecation or being very hard on yourself are alive because today is when Venus in Cancer will square Chiron in Aries, which can be the energy around looking at a photograph of yourself and feeling the pang around, does my face really look like that? Do my teeth really look like that? Some of you could be feeling quite sensitive as it relates to not feeling beautiful, not feeling valuable. Some of you could feel quite sensitive as it relates to a love issue, where your partner says something and you just want to hide into your shell. You just want to hide away. You feel more sensitive. You feel more triggered. Maybe that's not how they meant it, but it's how you perceived it. Maybe you got your nails done and you didn't feel empowered enough to speak up around, no, I don't really like that shape. And then it got too far along and you didn't say anything. And now you're leaving the salon and feeling this familiar story surface around, why do I never advocate for myself? Why do I clam up in these certain situations? Why? And again, dogpiling on yourself. That could be Chiron energy. It's adding insult to injury by beating yourself up, by activating these familiar loops where, yes, the nail appointment is what triggered it, but it brings back experiences around I didn't feel valuable enough to stick up for myself here and there and there. And that's what's really painful around Chiron energy, is that it's layered, it's stacked. It's not just about your partner buying the salad dressing that you don't like. It's around, I don't feel seen, and that makes me want to shut you out, makes me want to hide away. There also could be insecurities around money or finances, particularly linked to home, potentially around, I don't want to live here, but am I abundant enough to not live here? Or just feeling into the energy around, something broke and now I don't know if I have the resources in order to fix it. And there could just be an energy around wanting to just retreat into our shell like little crabs and just withdraw away from the world, which sometimes we have to do that, right? We have to lick our wounds. We have to feel our feels. We have to look at the photo and feel the trigger around, my teeth. Again, another beautiful photo that I'm not going to post because I hate my teeth. Again, it's not just the photo, it's the other photos. It's how you were teased for your molars when you were younger. It's how every time someone tells a joke, you smile and then you instinctively cover your mouth because you don't want other individuals to see your molars. It's so built. It's so layered. And sometimes with Chiron and Aries, it's like, why am I like this? And sometimes we can look at everybody else and be like, nobody else has this teeth issue. Nobody else has insecurities with their skin. And what's important to keep in mind is that everybody does. And it may not be visible, but it's important to know that everybody does have some stuff. And it might be so ridiculous. You'll look at somebody who just seems so beautiful and they're like, yeah, but my knees, they're just like so knobby. Again, I think it's important to know that your value, your glow does not come down to your aesthetic beauty or the value that you present to this world to a purely physical level. Like your beauty and your essence and your value to this planet extends so beyond it. You're not just here for other people's eyeballs. You're really going to let a photo where you were joyful, you were having the best time, you were smiling bright, you're going to allow that moment to be tainted due to how you looked within that particular moment. And this message may differ based on different individuals and how it is that they identify and how it is that they navigate the world. But a lot of times we can feel this pressure that we always need to be performing, that we always need to be entertaining, that we always need to be pleasing aesthetically, and feeling the insecurity around feeling like we are not that. But you are not just here for other people's eyeballs. You are here for your soul and your heart. So it's also shrinking that down to its proper size in your life. Around, it's not just around how beautiful you look at any given moment. It's not just around how pleasing your smile appears to others. It's also how you feel when you make that smile, when you experience those memories. And so there just could be an energy of that around not feeling beautiful, not feeling valuable, not feeling loved. Some of you could just feel this energy around seeing happy couples and just like feeling this pull around, why not me? Or when's my turn? Or something like this. Venus in Cancer can bring up roots, nostalgia, the past. So there also could be this energy around feeling ghosts of the past, of past relationships haunt your current reality, your current expression, where you go to do something and then you remember, my past partner didn't like when I did that. Or going to make your current partner eggs and you're like, my past partner told me that they're rubbery and threw them away. Like feeling those wincing moments around the past and how it's impacting our future. And just important to ground down. It's Virgo season around. I do not live there anymore, and shrinking that into its proper size may also be alive here. And when it comes to Friday, as I highlighted tonight at 11:07 p.m., we have the Virgo New Moon. And so before that, you could be feeling a little bit tired, a little bit more inclined to withdraw. The moon in Leo will trine Chiron in Aries in the morning time. So yes, there could be the trigger with the Venus square Chiron, but also the healing balm in some way around either reframing it, creating through it, acknowledging the uniqueness because of that, something like this. The moon enters Virgo at 10:24 p.m. and then we have the Virgo new moon at 11:07 p.m. And just in case you're not a night owl, I want to let you know that we have generally 3 days to intention set to talk to the universe after a new moon. So you're absolutely aligned. If you happen to do a new moon ritual Saturday or Sunday, you are in the clear. You're still in the orb of the new moon. Yes, the eclipse window technically opens after this new moon, but this is the last co-creative opportunity that we have. And like I said, the Virgo new moon squaring Uranus, it can be potent for change. It can be around a new beginning, and new beginnings on a big level that show up around the small daily decisions. Again, sometimes our life changes not via the big things, but via the small things. You know, I've been vocal how starting a new morning routine around meditating has changed my life. That's just a small shift to my day to day, but my goodness, the benefits and the impact continues to reverberate. And it's important to believe you can get in a new ritual. You can get in a new rhythm. You can inspire a new habit. You are capable of change. Change is uncomfortable, especially if you are set in your ways, but this is a really aligned new moon to radically change and to really impact how it is that you see yourself. Because again, you could see yourself around, well, I'm not a morning person. Are you locking yourself in a cage of your own self-concept? Could you see yourself from a different perspective around, I'm someone who has historically slept later, but what if I could be someone who opened my eyes earlier? You never know how even just that thought is the fertile soil that helps nourish and fortify this new era of your life. I'm not saying everybody needs to meditate or get up early, but if there is a routine that you're wanting to call in, this can be a really powerful time to call one in. That's a dramatic change that feels radically different than the norm, than the typical. And to know that you can change. And it's not just inviting in the change, it's invoking the daily decision to show up for that around. It might be exciting at first to open your eyes and it's 6 a.m. and you can run off the high of the excitement around, I'm changing my life, I'm doing this, but things do get real. And it's really allowing that pace, that consistent pace. It's not just around getting excited about it at the beginning. It's also showing up for it within the middle. When it's not so glamorous, when it's not so fun, when it's not so exciting, because what gets exciting about it is that it becomes the new normal. You have integrated it without even thinking about it, where it's like, of course I'd get up at 6 a.m. and meditate. That's what I do every single day. It creates that pace. And so it frees up more of your mental capacity to put towards other matters when you have these things that are like, well, of course I'm doing that. Because sometimes we get in our way around analysis paralysis around, is it good enough? Is it perfect enough? What have you? And it helps to set up a routine where it's like, well, of course I'm going to film content today. That's what I do every single week. And having that ritual, having that routine, whether content's doing great, whether it's not doing great, of course I'm going to wash my face. I do that every single day. Whether my face it looks amazing or I'm breaking out, regardless, I'm going to show up for it. Like it's a consistent part of my day-to-day routine and can help take the guesswork out of it. It can help take the extremes out of it where it's just honoring that pace, that consistency of the everyday. Because there's so many things, especially moving in eclipse season, that are peaks and valleys, that are ups and downs. We'll have good skin days, we'll have bad skin days. We'll have days in which we're feeling great about our smile, and then times that we're feeling not as confident around it. Allowing your actions to be consistent, and for that to actually be a grounding force within your life around, regardless of what is happening, I know I'm getting up and I am washing my face. This is a powerful new moon to invite in new rituals and routines that are the new normal. and really inviting in not just the routine, the ritual, the daily devotion, but also the mindset that will support it. Not just the beginning, but the maintenance of it. And you can look at where within your chart you have 0 degrees Virgo to get more information of where this may activate and enliven, electrify within your life. On Saturday, August 23rd, I want to let you know that we're still in the Virgo New Moon window. There can be a focus, very Virgo-like, to analyze, to discern, to perfect, to improve. And again, that could show up within your physical environment, that can show up within your routines, that can show up within your fitness habits, within your nutrition. The balance with Virgo season is that, of course, it's important to nurture the now, to pour into our potential, to move in this direction of being the best that we could possibly be, and to know that that is a milestone that keeps moving, where we never are in a space where we're absolutely perfect and there's nothing else that we need to fix and change and grow and improve. And it's being committed to self-improvement, but not in this energy around, I'll love myself when I get there. It's like, I love myself so much that I'm dedicated to getting there. And so I'm going to enjoy the process of being my best self and pouring into me, because that's a lifelong process. There is no end goal. There will not be a time when it's like, oh, my skincare game finally paid off and now it's perfect and I never need to do it again. It's a daily decision. It's a daily muscle. It's a daily commitment to being your best self. And like I said, we could just start noticing the details of everything. And I mentioned that in terms of house, but you could also mention that in terms of self, around when's the last time I got my roots touched up, or like when's the last time I tweezed my eyebrows, or when's the last time that I cleaned out my camera roll on my phone or dusted my computer. Like, you could be kind of getting the ick with things. Like, all of a sudden just like icked out around like, when's the last time I did this? And like looking at things with fresh eyes around, how did this go so long without noticing I have to dust there and I have to do this? Like, you could just be looking out at the world with fresh eyes, a much more discerning eye at that time. So you could be navigating that this weekend. And some of that could be making you feel a little agitated, we'll say. You know, the Virgo sun will square off with Uranus very early tomorrow. And so this could be an energy where you feel a little bit more chaotic. You feel a little bit more volatile. There could be an energy where you are more overstimulated. You are a little bit more jumpy when it comes to sounds. Or again, you could be getting really bothered by noises or things that feel like they are wrong. And again, breathe. The best way to counter this energy is to breathe, to be within your physical body. Virgo may be a Mercury ruled sign, which is of the mind, but it's an earth sign, which is of the body, which is why Virgo has a very strong mind-body connection. So it's really important that in those times that your mind is scanning and just seeing all of the things that are wrong and need to be fixed and need to be done, it's important to come into your body, soothe your nervous system, because sometimes when your body is anxious or on edge, it will just prompt your mind to scan and look for something that's wrong that you can obsess and hyperfixate over. And there will always be more to be done. There's always more self-improvement that we could be doing. There's always more cleaning that we could be doing. There's always more on our to-do list that we could be doing. And so there's an ask around, how can we befriend that and enjoy the process rather than feeling like I'll be happy once everything is perfect, once everything is clean, once I am how I need to be. That's an eternal journey, my loves. Some of you could experience this the opposite way, where you're getting frustrated by the maintenance of day-to-day life. You're wanting to rebel against the responsibilities. This could be an energy where you're really not wanting to be told what to do. It could really bother you if you feel like someone's nitpicking you or psychoanalyzing you. There just could be an energy where you're wanting to do your own thing this weekend, not be told what to do and how to do it. And there can be some sleep disturbances. I highlight that because the Virgo moon does square off with Uranus in the wee hours on Saturday morning, and then the sun is building to square Uranus in the wee hours on Sunday morning. So could be a shocking weekend, unexpected weekend, surprising weekend, spontaneous weekend. With the squares to Uranus, sometimes there's just random events that transpire where it's like, I thought the weekend was going to be this, but then I got the ick at my closet and I spent the whole weekend organizing my closet and I had a garage sale. Not how I expected things to go, but how they unfolded. And that's the other tricky part about Virgo energy, is that there is a desire for plan and control. But we're moving into eclipse season and we have Uranus aspect. So when we make a plan, God laughs. The universe laughs. Eclipse season laughs. And so have an intent. Start your day with deliberate intent. Talk to the universe what you want to call in, but also strive to be able to pivot if things don't unfold exactly as you thought they were. Because the Sun square Uranus energy, you could feel very annoyed, agitated, volatile if things are not your way or you cannot control what is unfolding. On Sunday, August 24th, I want to highlight firstly that shortly after midnight, the Virgo sun will square Uranus in Gemini. As I've been emphasizing, Gemini and Virgo are both ruled by Mercury, and they're different sides of Mercury. Virgo is the side of Mercury that analyzes, dissects, pulls things apart in order to understand the pieces. Hence why you could be looking at your life and all of a sudden noticing all these small details of it. Again, nobody notices the molars the way that you do. Nobody walks into your home and notices the baseboards like you do. Like a lot of times what we obsess over and the details that we fixate on, nobody else would notice. Now, this can be a strength of Virgo because they can notice the details that many other people miss in order to make projects the best that they could possibly be, to see dimensions and how things could be improved that other people miss. Gemini is the side of Mercury around pulling together, connecting the dots. And so there can be a light bulb moment, an aha, a new approach, a new lease on life, a new way of viewing something that could beneficially improve your life. Yes, Uranus energy could be shocking events, unexpected events, shocking news, something like this, but it can also be a new way of viewing yourself and a new way of viewing life that utterly changes things, and knowing that it does not need to show up in these big ways. It can show up via the small things. Have you ever had a quote that changed your life, an analogy that changes your life? I know I have. Sometimes the most simple things that are expressed can have the biggest ripple effects within our lives. Sometimes the smallest habits that we integrate within our lives have the biggest impacts within our life. Sometimes we talk to the universe and say, I'm calling in all of these big changes, but instead it nudges us towards these new habits and these new routines, saying, universe, I asked for big changes. And it's like, yeah, that'll show up as you show up for the small things. When you meditate every single day, I guarantee things within your outer reality will shift. Small things can have a big impact. And so this could be an energy where it's just seeing something differently, having a conversation that inspires you to see yourself differently. Again, even getting feedback, getting a little bit of criticism or advice that makes you look at yourself differently in a sense. And again, as human beings, we like to feel in control of our reality. We don't like to feel like we do not have free will and sovereignty within our experience. So oftentimes when someone tells us what to do, we will immediately respond with being on the defense around, you can't tell me what to do. You don't know my life, because it's so important for us to feel like we are in control. And while you, like we were talking about, are the creator of your universe, it's important to know that other people can connect the dots in ways that we cannot. Like the Virgo sun energy could be only seeing the trees and not the forest. Whereas Uranus and Gemini, it's like, have you viewed the bigger picture here, connecting these dots? Or this could just be someone sharing something to you where it's like, oh, I would have never thought about it that way. I was so obsessed with making this perfect that I forgot the bigger picture. Or this would be the energy within the vibe check where you do send the photo to a friend and they're like, oh my goodness, you look so happy. Jet skiing looks so fun. And it reminds you of the bigger picture around, oh, it's not perfect, but that doesn't mean that it's not worthy. That doesn't mean that it's not a lovely, worthy message to share. And so it's being open to input and feedback. You know, Virgo energy can be a little bit critical, and sometimes we don't want to hear criticism or advice from other individuals. And there most certainly is a time and place. But if you are so plugged into the trees, you'll miss the forest. And sometimes people outside of a situation can see the forest, and that can give you a new lease on life or a new perspective. Never forget the power of perspective or viewing things from a different lens, from a different way, especially with Uranus and Gemini. And don't forget the ability that you have to view yourself from a different perspective. Because if you're stuck in a familiar loop, if you're stuck in a familiar role, it could be someone outside of you around, hey, why don't you try it like this? Or, hey, I think you're really good at this. Why don't you go in this direction? That helps you get out of your own way around, oh, I could never do that because I'm not good enough here, or because I'm not this, or because I've already seen myself in this lens. What if a new perspective was possible? What if a new self-concept was possible? There can be an opportunity to work with this. The Virgo moon will sextile Jupiter in Cancer at 5:14 a.m. So lovely day to nourish your body, nourish your home, nourish your plants, nourish your pets if you're lucky enough to have one, and just make it a really beautiful Sunday. So my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is I show up for my potential. This is a daily act, a devotional act, a necessary act. And it is an act that is essential for every day that you are alive, breathing on this planet, is to nurture the potential of all that you are, nurture the potential of your physical vessel, nurture the potential of your mind, nurture the potential of your soul. Show up for you, show up for all that you are. Recognize that the care and keeping of self is a daily devotion. It is a daily discipline. There is no end goal. There is no finish line. It is something that you integrate every single day. No matter how much you better and improve and perfect, there will always be other areas of your life to do so. How can you fall in love with that process? How can you love this process of becoming rather than hate yourself within that journey? Battling against what you don't want rather than moving the direction of what you do, moving this direction of your most aligned, embodied version of yourself, seeing yourself as though you're chipping away marble on a beautiful sculpture, right? Just wanting to support your own blossoming, to support your own becoming, fall in love with the potential of you. And also fall in love with the potential of you that you have yet to excavate, that you have yet to discover. When it comes to eclipse season, things are aligning and orchestrating outside of our hands, outside of our control, outside of our knowledge. Show up for your potential now and get ready for how the universe is going to activate your potential moving forward. So if you made it to the end of the forecast, we will do the paint palette emoji as a shout out to eclipse season and just turning up the saturation on all of our photos and all of our emotions and all of the events that transpire. Things just get a little bit more intense. Things get a little bit more exaggerated. Things get a little bit more emphasized. But we've got this. I've got you covered every single week here in my cosmic corner of the internet, even when it's a million degrees in this room. Talk about daily devotion. I show up regardless of temperature, regardless of moon. And I don't share that in a woe is me way. I don't share that in a way around like hustling and grinding and ignoring my needs. I just share that in a way around you won't always feel like doing something. You won't always feel like washing your face. You won't always feel like going to the gym. You won't always feel like working on and refining your craft. But the magic is around the consistency where it's like wherever it is that I am, I show up. That's my consistent. That's my constant. That's my new normal. And that's what we're all calling in with this Virgo new moon. So I would love to know, what is your new normal? What are you calling in? My Instagram handle is at Haley Comet Astrology. My TikTok is the same. I would so love to connect with you over there. Thank you so much for spending some of your week with me. I'll see you again next week, same time, same place. But until then, drink lots of water and stay magical.